Hello there everybody, I am back with more SOMA today, and we started exploring Omicron. We're looking for materials in order to get our power suit working, and we managed to get one of the materials in the last video. So we've kind of explored the middle floor. Seriously dude, I know you're there. Every time I look into the glass case where you were, you appear. I should also mention that he's absolutely no threat. He's just there basically to steer the course and to remind you that he's there and to basically get you on your way. So even though it's kind of spooky and kind of annoying that he pops up here and there and he pops up on screens, you don't have to worry about him. So let's go back down to the first floor. Again, it doesn't matter what order you do these in, but we'll go to the first floor first. And is anyone else extremely concerned, by the way, that this body moved? Because when we entered this area, like, this body was here, but that body was sitting here. If you don't believe me, go watch the video where we came into this area, because yeah, that body was definitely not there. It's a little concerning. I don't think I like that very much. Alright, so now that we're on the lower floor, we can go ahead and override, which will give us access to this floor. So we have the robot repair bay, and we have dispatch. And we also have this body here, which is just wow. I mean, we have never seen this kind of type of thing go. Like I said, all these bodies obviously are attached to the WoW and whatnot, but we see different variations of it from this is kind of similar to how Amy looked a little bit when we ran across her, but not quite as extensive. But it's pretty screwed up. You can actually see like this guy's insides being replaced with robotics and machine parts, presumably by the WoW in order to keep them alive. Also very interesting to note that this guy's head didn't explode like the others. Not quite sure why that is. So we can visit the dispatch first if we want to. There's a healing spot here. And this is mostly just a bit more story, more than anything else. So this is where Rally would have been, because she was the dispatcher for Omicron. So on her clipboard here, she's completely obsessing about Alpha. Into the Abyss, take it to Alpha in the Abyss. And I'm not entirely sure if this is her making notes to herself, or if this is Johann Ross somehow trying to get a message to her. Alpha needs medicine. He's sick. Or it's sick? I think it says it's sick. I'm assuming that's the WoW. Find Tau and Alpha. Take the gel to Alpha. The heart of Alpha. So a lot of speculation about this Alpha place, and probably confirmation that it exists. And it's probably the area that houses the WoW. And it's by Tau, so that gives us a good location as to where it is. This is a drawing of the gel that we picked up in the last video. And here we have some audio logs. So let's go ahead and listen to these in chronological order, if we can.
Unable to connect. Lumar relay out of range.
Tau, please respond. This is Rally Herber calling from Omicron. Please respond, Tau.
Unable to connect. Lumar relay out of range.
Yeah, I get it.
I think ACR is the climber, if I'm not mistaken.
Omicron, can you hear us?
Loud and clear. Everyone all right?
We will be as soon as we make
made friends with the power suits. I'm sure you'll get used to it.
Look at that.
Just wanted to check in before we pass the last working Lumar probe. Guys, any last words to Omicron? Don't forget to pick us up. You heard that, right? Don't worry, we won't forget. Alright. Heading into radio silence. Good luck, guys.
Aha, so that confirms that Katherine and the team managed to make it down on the climber in order to continue their travels with the Ark. And my understanding of the climber is that it's a one-way street. You can probably go back up in the climber, but it is all operated from Omicron, so you can't call the climber to come and pick you up once you're down further. You have to actually have someone from Omicron send the climber down to you, which would make sense as to why Katherine said, don't forget to come and pick us up.
Strasky, are you there?
I hear you, Herbie. What's up?
Just wanted to check in. I have to go do something. I might not be around for a few days, okay?
Rally Herbert leaving the listening post? Must be important.
It is, Strask. It is.
Okay then. Stay safe.
So that's all there is for that. Just a bit of additional story stuff if you guys are interested. This door remains closed. I don't think we can ever actually get in there. And we can also check out the robot repair bay. So this is another area where we're going to get another item that is required. I'll try and see if there's anything else in this room. A fairly small room. I don't really think there's much else for us to do in here. A couple of diagrams of some of the robots that we've ran into. The K8 is that really adorable little helper robot that we've been able to find. You have the Bull model here, which I do believe was the robot that had Carl's personality inside of it, if I'm not mistaken. It looks kind of similar. We saw this one, the Topa, outside of Omicron. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to examine this computer here, and it's going to mess with this robot on the table, and we need the robot's Cortex chip. So if you want to, you can kind of mess around with the robot a little bit, and you can try a couple of different things, if you please. So by connecting the lines to the different commands, you'll be able to do different things with the robots. So you can hear it talk, you can see it move, you can have it light up. It's up to you. But really your ultimate goal is to get 3 lights down to the bottom here to be able to eject the Cortex chip. Very easy, again, multiple solutions to this puzzle, but fairly simple. Go ahead and eject the chip. And that's item number 2 that we need. Simple. I'm working on it. I only got one more item to get. I think that's all there really is on this floor. There's actually not a lot down here from what I remember. So now all we have left to do is to visit the upper floor and grab our last item. There's also another body here, which is, again, just really screwed up. Not as screwed up as the guy downstairs we just found, but again, pretty messed up. Another good example of the WoW and how it can keep someone alive. Because this guy's obviously alive, his fingers are moving, and he's breathing. So up the stairs we go, up to the 3rd floor. And what do we got up here? This room here is the main entrance. There's just a bunch of corpses. I do believe that if the front door had worked when we first tried to enter Omicron, this is where we would have come into instead of having to go around the back. And this is pretty gross. All these guys here with their heads missing. So let's head on in and unlock these doors on the upper section. You can see we have the mess hall, airlock, which probably would have been the front entrance, and the power room. So I'm going to go to the dining hall first. We need to go over there, but we're going to go here first. Because the dining hall has some very interesting bit of information for us. So obviously we can't mine this corpse since it has no head, but if we can kind of get close enough to be able to examine the computer, it's a bit touchy. You can examine this, it just takes the right angle. We can listen to these reports.
Johann Ross was found dead on the climber this morning. The ARC team went down a couple of days ago, but I see no reason to suspect them playing a part in his death. The climber can't be operated from the abyss, so there was a scheduled retrieval. The climber returned with only the lifeless body of Alpha member Johann Ross. No traces of the ARC team. Cameron, Eames, Lansky, all studying the body inside containment. I'll follow up with whatever they find. Delenda Est. The WoW has been getting more aggressive, pushing all systems to their limits. Ironically, the dead Dr. Johann Ross would be the perfect person to ask why the WoW is making such a big buzz about his passing. After all, the WoW isn't supposed to want anything, and definitely not to mourn people. The system overload affects the staff considerably. Headaches, loss of sleep, unwarranted stress. And it seems to be getting worse. I could use some advice if you can get through. Delenda Est. Things are out of hand. The staff looks like they're about to explode. Every other person walks around with nosebleeds, and the rest keep wiping stains of blood from their eyes to keep them from overflowing. That's to do with the WoW trying to free Ross somehow, for sure. At this point, I wouldn't be surprised if the body just got up and left. Rally Herber, our dispatcher, has been snooping around asking questions she shouldn't. She says she's going down into the abyss to find Alpha. I can't bring myself to stop her.
So, yeah. People were literally bleeding from the eyeballs before their heads eventually exploded, so that's pretty fucked up. I can't imagine how that would feel, just walking around and all of a sudden you have a nosebleed and your eyes are bleeding. And this lady here was Julia. Now, she's one of the few members who were kind of on that secret mission to have the WoW a station-wide presence. If we remember way back when we were in Theta, we found out that Mark was also one of these people who were kind of sent on a secret objective to make the WoW a station-wide presence. And Mark, Julia, Johann Ross, and I do believe one other person are the only people in the entire Pathos 2 who knew about Alpha and knew that it was a thing. Nobody actually knew besides those couple of people where the WoW was stationed, and they had no idea of Alpha's existence. So you can imagine for Julia finding out that Rowley's asking all these questions and snooping around, it was probably a big deal, but I think it probably got to the point where things were just so bad with the Impact event and with the WoW behaving the way that it did that she didn't really do anything to stop it, as she said. And then their heads exploded. There's a healing spot there, which you may need as we move on into the next section. And there's nothing really else in here. Mostly just Julia here recording her thoughts. And I also don't know who the heck she was reporting to, because there's no dates on these, but I mean, I would assume she couldn't report to the surface because the surface was wiped out. Maybe she was trying to talk to Mark or one of the other, like, exclusive members. I'm not entirely sure, but it's a mystery. Alright, and then finally, we're almost done with Omicron. We're gonna go into the power room. We have storage, which probably has nothing in it, but we can look, I guess, if we want. Yep, whole lot of nothing. I'm gonna go ahead and crouch. We're gonna be in danger shortly. And this corpse is really interesting because you can kind of see, or maybe you can't, but you can see that that guy's head looks like it's exploded, but the WoW has just kind of hooked itself into him and kind of filled the gap. Oh, that is just nasty. I do appreciate, though, that this is the area where they were probably researching the structure gel and a lot to do with the WoW and stuff, and so you see a lot of what the WoW and the structure gel is kind of capable of. And you might be able to hear the enemy over just across the way there. Normally, I would assume you'd be able to grab the batteries that we need from this box here. This is the last of our items that we need. But it's not here. It's over where our enemy friend is. We can actually see her in the distance. And this is actually a very interesting enemy because she doesn't operate like most enemies do. She doesn't really attack you until she's provoked. And I found you had to get extremely close to her in order to provoke her. I would still probably recommend staying low and staying quiet because the problem is the battery that we need is in that case, and getting close to her is probably going to aggro her. Turning on your flashlight, you can hear there that she just gave me a warning. She knows I'm here and she said, "Get away from me." But you can get pretty close to her before she kind of freaks out and gets upset. So what I would recommend is I would recommend kind of positioning yourself back here and making as straight of a beeline towards the panel there, which contains the battery that we need, and trying to grab the battery. She will probably knock you down, but like most enemies in the game, when she knocks you down, she usually takes off as well. So you'll probably have enough of a chance, even with getting hit once, to be able to come in here, grab the battery, and get out. I'm actually surprised she's not attacking me because she doesn't kill you in one hit. She might attack me, actually. Who knows? We'll see. But I'm just getting a really good look at her because she's very much unlike any enemy we've seen so far. She's very, very, very human-like in comparison, don't you think? I mean, obviously, Acres is still kind of human-like, but not to the extent where he actually has flesh and you can see his clothes. He's kind of completely taken over by structure gel and the WoW, whereas this lady just seems to be kind of fused with robot parts. So even while not playing in safe mode, she's not terribly difficult to deal with. Like I said, it's going to be probably difficult, if not impossible, to grab those batteries, or that battery, and to get out without taking any sort of damage. But even if she knocks you over once, you should be able to grab the battery, run back, close the door, and make it out just fine, because she won't follow you, I think, out of this room. So once you have all the items, you can head back down to the middle floor. And we can return to Katherine with our items. Now, unfortunately, she is going to kind of follow us, and she's going to teleport, and she will now be in this room, directly in our way. But I found, even while I was playing normally, that she's really not that much of an issue. If you just get a head start on her, you can basically just run right past her, straight down the hall, right through the door, and Katherine will close the door behind you, and she won't hit you.
Shut the door, Katherine. Lock it up.
You could actually see her chasing me there. I didn't get a very good glance at it, but she wasn't even remotely close to me, so...
Piss off another one of WoW's monsters.
We have everything we need, right?
Yeah. Let's get to work.
Alright, so we've pretty much explored all of Omicron. We're now safe in this room, back with Katherine, our friend. And I'm going to stop it here. In the next video, we will try and get inside the power suit and descend into the abyss. Thank you all so very much for watching, and I hope that I will see you next time.